Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Dee, and today I'm going to talk about winterizing or even growing peppers indoors. So of course I have cut down most of them, but I didn't even have to do a lot of cutting because I took the net down from these peppers, and the deers, the rabbits, they've been eating them. Most of them have been bitten down, and so I'm just trying to see which ones I can save and bring them indoors. When I say I winterize my peppers, I actually grow my peppers indoors. So what you're seeing is this thing here, and I'm hoping that when it comes back, it's a full-grown pepper, flourishing pepper tree that's indoors. It takes about a month or so to fully come back, and then about 2 months. So I'm saying by the time December rolls around, I should see this pepper plant, if it's lucky, because some do die when I take all the leaves like this off of them, but most of them do survive, and then I use them and I will see a full-grown pepper plant all over again. But since these been out here like this for such a while, and the animals have been eating them, I'm hoping that I came clean enough to save them. Now these were a little bit more fortunate outside with the animals after I removed the netting, but these animals always find a way to get to these pepper plants. But I have, I think, one pepper left on it over there in the back. It's windy out here, it's supposed to rain, but if you see it, there's one pepper left out here. This one I will cut down. I will cut down to a very small plant, and most people say to cut them down about 2/3, so that's what I'm going to try to do. But I'm going to try to just leave the bare stem of this plant here, if you're seeing it correctly, the bare stem of this, because this thing gets really big indoors. I had this one indoor last winter, and it got really big, but it did produce a lot of those sweet peppers though, so which was good. You have to look for everything that you want and don't want. So I do not want this plant to be very big, because it is going indoors and it will grow indoors. So when you cut, and I'm trying to use the camera, but it's hard to maneuver the camera and also cut. I'm going to cut it right there, and then cut. So as you can see, I don't have that many leaves left on here, so I'm going to pick the camera back up because it's hard to show. So if you look at this, you're just seeing basic sticks, stems. So I'm going to take some of the branches off of it and bring it down to a smaller plant. Too many branches, it's going to spread up all over the place. When I winterize my plants, I put them in pots, a lot of them in the same pots together, trying to minimize their growth as much as possible. So this is the pot over here I'm going to place them in, and maybe one of those second pots that I kept after I bought some plants from Home Depot last spring. All done. This is what I'm keeping. There are a lot of branches here, but I'm not quite sure which ones will come back. And so when they branch up, or when they leaf in the house, then I'll know which ones to cut off and which ones to keep. It's a lot here, but this one gets very big, so I can cut it down if it actually grows again inside the grow tent. I also saved like the stems I cut off like these. I try to root them, because if that main pepper dies, then I have many of these stems come back. They root, and I get smaller plants from them. It has started to rain, so I'm trying to hurry up here, but this is one of my other pepper plants, this one right here. It is a habanero plant too, I believe that's what it is. And then this is my chocolate scotch bonnet. I think that's what it is, if it didn't die out here already, because some of these plants are dying. But there they are, and they've been eaten down, and it is getting cold. It's chilly at night, and they're beginning to lose their leaves. Because they are perennials, so they begin to shut down for the winter. Not into rain, because I'm going to go inside, but this is what it looks like right now. I cut a lot of the branches off. I left a lot on too, but I want to see which one comes back indoors in the grow tent, and then I will cut them down some more, but I'm trying to just minimize their growth for now. But this is it. Okay, and as you can see, I basically cut all the leaves off. I don't bring the leaves off. I'm trying to avoid aphids. So what I'm going to do is wash them down, hose them down, really hose them down. And then I'm going to spray them with neem oil and then bring them indoors. New soil and everything, and bring them indoors. What they look like. So what I do now is that I hose them down. I really hose them down, roots and all. And then try to get all the bugs off of them, things I cannot see. If there's any fungus or anything, I try to get as much of it off as possible, because I do not want to bring these things into my home. And this way, the plants have a better chance of surviving. Of course, as I said, some of them may die, and I always get a few that die each year. But I'm trying to get as many to survive as possible. So I hose them down, and if you see here, I'm also bringing in a couple okra plants. They're still budding, fruiting, but I'm going to see. I left the fruits there so I could identify what they are indoors. And I'm going to bring in tomato plants too, cuttings from the tomato plants, and see what survive indoors. But just remember to always hose them down. Try to get as much of the bugs off of them as possible. That's why I cut off all the leaves. It's more of preventing bugs from getting inside my home. And then you see these aphids flying around, or these fungus gnats flying around. The next thing you know, your plants are dying. One by one, the leaves start to fall, and you know that you have an infestation. So I make sure to do this. And you could just do this and then put them inside some soil, and put them inside the garage and winterize them with a little bit of light through the glass of the garage for the winter. Just remember to water here and there, a month or so in between, and you're winterizing them. But here, my version of it is because I want to grow some indoors too. And the clippings I don't focus much on. With the clippings I put them in, and I try to keep them as small as possible. So this way I'm not focused on them growing. I water them a little. I water them a lot in the beginning. Then I slow down my watering, because I really don't want to grow too big indoors. But I want to keep an eye on them as they're indoors. So this is what I do with the plant. If you can see, let me pour this out. But if you want, maybe I shouldn't pour it out yet. Try to let it soak, get some of those bugs off. But this is what I do, and this helps a lot. It helps to prevent bugs from coming in. And as you can see, there are not many leaves on these plants. In fact, some plants don't have any leaves at all. And I know that's a scary thing to look at, but that's them. And this is what I do. So I'm going to pour this water off and then spray again, or hose down again. Okay, now I'm more focused on the roots, trying to clean the roots, because things do come in on the roots too. And those are my labels. I do have labels on most of my peppers, but the writing came off, so I'm not quite sure what some of these peppers are anymore. Only when they fruit can I really identify some of them. But that's when I try to clean the roots too, try to clean it as much as possible. Trying to get those things as clean as possible. Hose these things down, get all the bugs. Anything I can get off of them before I bring them in. In fact, to tell the truth, I think my plants grow better indoors than outdoors. The Fox Farm potting soil. I've never used it before, but I'm a great fan of their fertilizers, as you can see here. I'm a great fan of their fertilizers, so I'm going to use this. The Fox Farm potting soil. And they have different names for this. This one is called Ocean Forest, and I'm going to see how well this one works with my plants. I'm trying to avoid fungus gnats and moldy soil. I'm not quite sure if this one will prevent it, but I'm trying something new because I do like their fertilizer. I'm going to see what happens here. But I'm going to pour it into that same pot that you saw me hose the peppers down into. This is the Fox Farm potting soil. I'm hoping it will work. Looks uniformed. Looks good. I'm going to put it in. It's about 2/3 filled. I'm going to put the peppers in and see how many I'm going to fit into the pot. Remember, I want to put as many in as possible to minimize their growth indoors. The roots are as clean as possible. I try to take everything off these plants, everything, just to avoid insects coming into the house, especially aphids. And then the one that leaves the spider webs, that was on my mango plant one year, but that's them. So I try to clean as much off as possible. I sprayed them once with the neem oil. I'm going to spray them again, but this is what they look like. These are the cut-ins. I put a whole bunch into one pot. These are the ones with roots, the ones that were cut down. There they are. Just look. It's sad to see what they look like. And then there's this other pot. I ended up with 3 pots of them. There are a lot of them in there, guys. I usually put them in and then I separate them. But I got these colorful pots in which I put them in if they start to grow. And so there they are. As soon as they start to put on leaves and bud and sort of spread out, I will change them. But these are the cut-ins. And it's called take root, to see how many of them will actually root. But not all of them will, but I take what I get. And then there is the other one. So I have 2 of these, a whole bunch of them in there. Then I have, of course, the cut-ins. Not the cut-ins, I have the actual plants that I cut down. I'm trying to winterize, I will say, in quotes. And then that's the other one. And then the other one. So I have 3 of those, which I'm going to bring inside and put inside the grow tent. But I'm going to spray first, again, I should say, with the neem oil one more time. I did use, again, the take root for the cut-ins. That helps a lot to get them to root. And I also sprinkle some on top. And then I'm going to use the fish fertilizer to get these things to put out leaves as quickly as possible. Because, as you can see, they don't have leaves. Okay, they don't have leaves. And so I'm going to also use the Fox Form. I love my Fox Form Grow Big. So I'm going to use this one also with the fish fertilizer to help my plants. But they're all getting the fish fertilizer and Fox Farm. As the Fox Farm is 644 and the fish fertilizer is 511. They do have that nitrogen, but the Grow Big has more of the others. So I'm going to use that too to help them. I hope you like what you saw. So like, share, please, and please subscribe. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.